Okay, I hope everybody's glasses are full. You've done what you needed to do. We got a little bit of a break here between switching seats and refilling glasses and opening new bottles, but here we go. Todd from the Hudak House, are you ready?
I am ready.
It is your turn to tell your story, and I'm so glad you came.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, and actually thank you for Kate, who's not here, your daughter, because she definitely let me know that you guys were interested when I saw her at the symposium. She actually caught me off guard a little bit because I wasn't sure who she was. But I had such a great time up at your property a couple of weeks ago. You guys invited me up. We did ATV tours. We didn't do any wine tasting because it was kind of early in the morning. I had a lot of stuff to do that day. And I'm like, if I start drinking wine now, my whole day is pretty well toast. So you have quite the story because you were not in the wine industry at all. This was not really your like long time, lifelong dream.
No, we're one of the rare people, I think, that it wasn't a dream to own a vineyard or to make wine, or we just wanted something different. And I always wanted to be a farmer. And we looked at a few things for years, probably about 8-9 years. We were looking for something. Stumbled on a winery with an event center and thought, this might work. And that didn't work, but the idea stuck. So we kind of continued that search, and I found the property that we're at. And I had that MLS printout for that property on my wall next to my desk for about 2.5 years.
And you were in real estate. Let's not forget that part, because that kind of plays a whole piece in this whole story.
Yeah, I was in real estate. I was doing property management and things like that. I had done some renovations and things like that. So the thought of buying a property that was in the shape it was in wasn't as scary as probably for most people. I saw the vision rather than the what was there existing. But we looked at the property. Like I said, I had it on my wall for about 2.5 years, looked at it. It was on and off the market. And then finally went up. I was taking my oldest daughter back to UO for school. And I told her, well, look, I'll move you into your apartment and you go with me to a concert at this old vineyard. And I just got to get it out of my head. Either way, we're going to it's a go or it's a no-go, and I can take the picture off my wall. Mm-hmm. And we ended up going. It was pouring rain. We got there, the skies opened up. It was a Fleetwood Mac concert. There were probably 150 people there.
Not the Fleetwood Mac. I'm like, there might have been a few more
Gold
people
Dust.
if Stevie was actually on stage.
But we have a big venue out there. It holds about 250 people. It's a stage in the woods, and they had been doing the concerts for years, about 20-25 years prior to us getting there. And went. It was an amazing property. It was an amazing evening, and that's kind of how it all started. I guess that would have been August, September. Talked to Ken, the owner at that time, probably for about 15-20 minutes. Said, hey, if you ever want to get really, really creative and figure something out some way, I can't write you a check, so that's not an option. But if you're ever interested in kind of turning over the reins, let me know. And he called me the next day. We met on the property, and then by Thanksgiving of 2019, we came back and forth, finally agreed and signed the papers. So we signed Thanksgiving 2019, took over the property January 2020, ready to hit the ground running.
I don't even really know where to go with that, because that was such a huge leap of faith.
Yeah, we had
and
no
maybe a little bit of
experience.
insanity.
A little bit insanity, naive, a little bit of naiveness.
Let's tell everybody how big this property is.
So it's a 30-acre vineyard. It's a 51-acre property, 30 acres planted. Me knowing nothing, thought,
this doesn't look so bad.
I can see both sides. It's not that big. They're old vines. I'm sure they probably take care of themselves at this point. How hard could it be? And lo and behold, plus it's old trellising. It's just a whole different animal from what you would normally see. Yeah. But to me, that was part of the charm and part of the uniqueness of it. And
yeah, we're gonna circle back to your insanity a minute, because I definitely do not want to lose the vineyard. And for those that know vineyards, and you actually see like in like modern day vineyards now through most of the valley, it's called vertical shoot positioning, which is the trellises with the wires, and everything kind of goes up straight for the most part. And as the season goes on, you move the wires and you move the whatever, and things kind of are on a vertical, positioning type thing. Yours are not that way.
No, ours are what's called Geneva double curtain. So instead of that nice, beautiful hedged row of vines, we have what looks like an old clothesline, and our vines grow up about 5-6 feet in the air, split, and then flop to the ground. So it's literally like a curtain. So once everything is in full bloom, you can't basically see the vines anymore. They're just covered in a giant drape of foliage, leaves and yeah. So normal row spacing is about 7 feet on average, I think, for VSP. We're between 10 and 12 feet, and ours will literally grow together during the season. So we're running down the rows with our tractor and splitting them apart.
Pushing things aside. Yeah. Need like a little sweeper or something that has a little push bar or something on there to get it.
So it's kind of unique.
There.
It's like I said, our fruit, instead of being low to the ground, our fruit is all up high, 4 or 5 feet in the air, which also lends to, we have a lot of deer out there. And deer is normally the enemy of the vineyard owner. They destroy everything. For us, because everything is so high, they actually clean up the bottoms for us pretty well. So we don't really have any hard feelings with our deer population out there. In fact, there were 6 of them out there this morning. But with our stuff being as high it is, they don't really do any damage.
I just look at the chaos that ensues with picking. And I'm just like, it's bad enough when things are like in really nice, like trimmed rows and things. I cannot imagine 30 acres. And if you've ever worked in a vineyard, I have a couple like clients that are on the insurance side that have 1 acre of vineyard, and like, oh my God, this is so much, let alone having 30, and then you have the curtain instead of.
Well, and ours is even worse because it was originally planted as Riesling, Chardonnay, and Cab. And yes,
I mean the Riesling and the Chardonnay makes sense as long as it's the right clone, right?
Right.
But the Cab is not really what the Willamette Valley is known for.
They didn't know when they planted. It was back late 80s, early 90s. So they planted some Cab out there, but over the years, the owners planted more and more Pinot. And then the people that we purchased it from, they actually grafted all those old vines over. So they left the original rootstock and grafted it over to either Pinot Noir or Pinot Gris. So when we bought it, we were under the assumption that we were 100% Pinot Noir or Pinot Gris. That was the whole vineyard. And as we've been there cleaning things up and pulling stuff up from the original rootstock, we have about 5 tons of Chardonnay that grows randomly throughout our block 2. We get about a ton of Cab that doesn't usually ripen, that's randomly dispersed in our block 3. And then we get about 6 to 8 tons of Riesling that's kind of dispersed in our block 1. So not only is it crazy trellis, crazy leaf, crazy everything else, but we pick by color. So they literally have to go down each row and, okay, we're only picking the green ones today, or we're only picking the purple ones today. Or so luckily the varietals that are intermixed are easy enough to distinguish by color, but it's still just kind of adds to the circus.
I think a circus is actually probably one of the best ways to describe that, because it's just, I mean, when I walked into the tasting room and there's a big map on the wall and you're like, that's technically what we're supposed to have. So that's what I bought. That's what I thought we had. And that is not technically what's growing at all. I mean, yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes and no. And then you started explaining it to me and I'm like, I'm like, that would be such a pain in the ass.
It's crazy. The nice thing is it did allow us to make a lot more estate wine than we ever thought we could because of the different varietals that are there. But it just adds to the beauty of the place, the uniqueness, the character.
There's a lot of character up there. So, I mean, so we don't forget, we talked about that you were in Eola Hills, just like Varnum's are, but you are like 2 hills over. I mean, you're closer to the Van Duzer corridor.
Yeah, we're right on the edge. Right on the edge. We're up between 700 and 900 feet, right on the top of the hill, off Orchard Heights. So we're like almost to Rick Riel.
Yeah. between Rick Riel, like almost in the middle of Rick Riel and northwest Salem.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of up in the hills. There's actually some really great vineyards up there and wineries. So you're like in a really cool, like,
we got a
sweet
great
spot.
place. We got it was location, and then we just had to deal with the mess.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't want to get into the details and, the nitty gritty of it, but there was a lot going on there.
Yeah, it was a long journey. There were a lot of things that were not disclosed, or actually, I don't think they even knew. There were a lot of things that they let slide, and so we had a lot of cleanup, from adding a total new entrance to all kinds of crazy things. The building had to be certified as commercial, so we had a bunch of modifications there to do. A whole laundry list of things that we had to do, which took us about 4.5 years before we were able to. We just opened our tasting room last April. So we bought it in 2020, turnkey business, ready to hit the ground running, and COVID, and then building department, and then all the other things kind of followed from there. But it allowed us to actually do things the right way, I guess, is the way I can say it the best. I mean, we thought it was a curse at first, and now we look at it as kind of a blessing, because things were in such bad shape. The vines were in really bad shape. The building was in bad shape. The property was in bad shape. We had to rebuild basically everything from scratch. So it would have almost been easier if we started with an empty plot of land, but we inherited what we inherited. Turns out the grapes are fantastic, make great wine, and we just still working on cleaning up the rest of it, but we're there.
50 acres is a lot to take care of. Just if it's grass with cows, let alone that much grapes and everything else, because I know you're dealing with just some other issues with, the own-rooted stuff with, some phylloxera, which that's just in the valley. And so it just is what it is.
Yeah.
So it's nothing negative. It's just, just those old vines. But having that age of grapes that you have in the rest of it, I mean, what a cool story to have with, just that history on those vines and what they've seen, what they've done. And
yeah, it's really a neat place. We ended up, wildly enough, we ran into the daughter of the original owner that planted the vineyard at a show in Newport. And she came up to us and she's like, where are you? Who are you? Where are you exactly? We're like, no, exactly where are you on Orchard Heights? So we told her, and she's like, well, my family planted that vineyard, and we built the house, and we, put the vines in, and she said that it used to be called Westview Vineyards. And I had never heard of that name until literally about 2 weeks before that show. I went and pulled down the old sign, and underneath the old sign was this old hand-carved wooden sign that said Westview Vineyards.
Oh, how cool.
It was really weird. So I pulled it down, I hung it up in the pole barn, and never thought anything of it. And then when she came, she's like, was it called Westview Vineyards? Well, then I knew she was for real.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, believe it or not, I just found that sign and hung it up in my pole barn. She said, my boyfriend made that sign for us in wood shop at the high school.
Oh, I love stuff like that.
So, yeah, and so we met her. The stepfather had passed away, but the mom was still alive. So she reached out to us and said, hey, it's my mom's 81st birthday. We want to do wine tasting. Is it okay if we bring her out there and let her see the place again? I was like, oh my God, yes, no problem. That'd be fantastic. Well, she showed up. I'm expecting this little 81-year-old woman to hobble in, and she shows up in a tennis skirt and with two of her girlfriends, and she's got her wine glasses. They were just in Europe, and just an amazing person. But we were able to find out the true story of like how the vineyard was planted, when it was planted. A lot of the things that we thought were true were not. So it kind of gave us a good idea of like where those vines came from and how the cab got there. And
how did the cab get there?
So they were friends with the Mirasaus, who they actually were from California, came up, and they planted Christum vineyards. So the original owners of Christum. Well, they were very good friends with these people and ended up taking clippings from that vineyard, as well as Erath and all the guys that are around, Sokol Blosser at that time. So the brother of the owner actually would work in these vineyards for trimmings, for vines. And that's how they planted the vineyard. So it started out, it was an old peach orchard, I believe is what it was, or plum orchard. And they tore it out, planted the first block, which was all Riesling, and then added to that the Chardonnay and then the Cab. And that's how the Cab got there. And Marisol figured it out really quick that it didn't grow here and tore it all out. And so they don't have it anymore. But our guys just left it. So we ended up with it. It's there. And it's never ripened until 2021. We had that crazy heat. We got 4 days of 116.
How many times is that really?
One time. And we made 50 cases of Cab that we grew in Salem. So it's kind of our little unicorn wine that we are proud of. We have a lot of unicorns there, odd things there, but that's one of them. So we were able to do that in 2021.
Okay, so what all are we making? So let's run down the lineup and the list. We're drinking Chardonnay right now, which is a lovely Chardonnay.
Thank you so much.
And I will say that, I mean, we hear this all the time, and Riesling gets a bad rap, Chardonnay gets a bad rap. And the Riesling and Chardonnay that are being produced in Oregon as a whole are world class. They're stupendous. They're wonderful. And so if you are a don't serve me Chardonnay person or don't pour me Riesling, you are really missing out on some amazing stuff. So put that in the back of your pocket, and then let's be venturous, people.
Yeah, so we've got the Riesling, we've got the Chardonnay. It's an old Davis 108 clone, so it's not even a clone that anybody grows anymore. But it's worked out really well for us. And we have Pinot Gris, a lot of Pinot Gris. We get about 14 tons of Pinot Gris, which I love. It's probably one of my favorite wines from there too. And like I said, we get about a ton of Cab. We get about 44 tons of Pinot Noir. And we have Wadensville, Pommard, and 115. And then there's another block of 667 that they kind of abandoned, but we're trying to see if we can bring that back. Weed through the blackberries and the poison oak and see if we can revive it.
Yeah.
And I think that's about it. So we make about 7 different wines right now.
That's a nice lineup.
It's all estate grown. So for us, it's been great. We want to get a little more adventurous now. We were kind of producing what we could, to kind of get our feet wet. And so our Pinots have all been a blend. We'd like to kind of get into single block stuff now, maybe do, just a Wadensville or something like that. So kind of getting a little bit more, now that we're not as nervous anymore, we're trying to get a little bit more creative and branch out a little bit.
Well, you also have one of my favorite people helping you make wine.
Yes.
Yes. She is a spitfire of a human being.
Amazing,
and she has a story with that property too, if I remember right.
Yeah. So when we bought it, again, it was supposed to be turnkey. They were making wine there. I wouldn't suggest drinking any of it, but they were making wine there. We got there and it was just, everything was in just such rough shape that we were like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do now? The idea was we were here, we were making wine. The owner was going to stay on. We did a 3-year lease to own kind of a deal, train me because I knew nothing. And then we realized none of that was going to work. So we were fortunate enough to meet Anne Hudak there, and she had been buying grapes from them for years. She knew the vineyard, she knew the fruit. She didn't buy much, but she was there. We met her on site, and we were like, hallelujah. So Anne has been making our wine for us since 2020. And again, the things, to say that things have fallen into place unexpectedly is an understatement. I mean, everything with this property kind of, it's like, what are you going to do? And then all of a sudden, there it is.
The answer appears before you.
Yeah, it's been
in some
and the whole
sort
thing
in
has
some
been
sort
like
of
that.
package.
Yeah, from the start of even looking at the place to how we got there, how we ended up there, what we're doing, and what we're still doing.
Well, and you're doing quite a bit up there. So when I was up there, it was cold that day. And so we made a short trip to the top of the vineyard in the UTV, which was really fun. I always love being thrown in an ATV or UTV of some sort and taken for a tour. But you have a really cool piece of your property at the top that is now for the public use eventually?
Yeah, we're going to eventually. So
Eventually.
right now it'll probably be club members and things like that we're going to try and limit it to. But yeah, it's an old yurt that was up at the top of the property and the view from up there. So we sit between 700 and 900 feet. And our tasting room and winery building is at the bottom. So like most places, you're sitting above the vines looking down. At ours, you're kind of sitting at the base and looking up. And as you look up that hill, at the very, very top is the yurt. And it used to be a secondary tasting room. They used to do concerts up there. I mean, so we have a big concert venue. So he was big into music. And they built this giant 30 by 50 foot deck and used to have small concerts up there. When we got there, it was all in pretty rough shape. And nothing was really, the deck was not safe and things like that. So we tore all that off. We redid the yurt. We rewrapped it, re-insulated it, redid the floors, and it's pretty much ready to go now.
It's adorable.
Yeah, it's super, super cute. And the view is what's amazing from up there. So you're sitting at the very top of the hill. You're above all the fir trees, and you've got a complete view of the valley.
I think I took a video of it. It's probably on my social media somewhere, but you can see forever.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the furthest viewpoint is that you can see out that, off that deck, but it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's really pretty. That was the kind of the money shot. So when we met, I wasn't even aware that was there that night that I went for the concert. And then when we met to discuss, maybe possibilities of what we were going to do, that's where they took us. So they took us to the top of the hill. And of course it was myself and my three of my kids. So my 3 daughters. My wife was home. Had no idea. I mean, she knew we were going,
Whoops.
but had no idea. And then, like I said, we started talking about it, and I talked to her that next day, and I was like, this is the place. This has got to be the place.
Well, let's talk about the family dynamic here, because it's a family operation in a lot of definitions of that term. So who all is involved and what's due? I don't want to forget them.
Yeah, so we have 4 children, Lynette and I. So Lynette, she runs the events. She handles the social media right now with my son, who's in California. He does all of our social media, our marketing, things like that. My daughter, my oldest daughter is in Vancouver, but she does all of our events. She coordinates with the bands and the musicians and things like that, as well as helps Lynette with kind of the planning and things like that for those things. My third child, second daughter, she's in Montana right now, in Bozeman. She decided to take a sabbatical, and after she graduated from OSU, she decided she was going to Bozeman for a year. So we'll see how that works out. But she also is helping.
Not a bad place to go.
Yeah, she loves it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But she is there now. She helps us with, again, social media. She's done a ton of stuff with us for events. Before she went, we did all the concerts. She coordinated all the ticketing and all those kinds of things. And then our youngest daughter, Kate, she also helps around the vineyard, and she has now enrolled in wine school at Chemekta, and she's in her second year in the wine studies program. So hopefully we'll eventually have our own family winemaker, but it'll be a little while.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, so we're all
how
kind
cool.
of involved.
Yeah, I love the fact that everybody has like their own little hand in something, whether it's logistics or events or marketing or whatever, because it's also important. You have mentioned these concerts several times, and you do have this cute little like almost like amphitheater in the trees. And I was there during the winter, obviously, so like a lot of the the trees are still naked, and I can just envision and picture it when it's like actually like in full greenery, because it's mostly your big oaks and fir, and I can only imagine there's a bunch of like ferns in there, and
it's really beautiful in the
is there
season. We got a
water?
little pond. Yeah,
Yeah,
a little
okay.
pond there with some fish in it, and
Yeah.
But it's a great place for a concert acoustically. Being in that bowl, it's a fantastic place for the concert. So right now we do about 4 or 5 of those a year, and we hold 250 people, and it's a full-blown concert. You come, you bring your chair, and we have a food truck, different food trucks for each event. And then you kind of find your space, and it's lights and sound guys and the whole thing. And it's pretty neat. It's a great place to come. We're about 10 degrees cooler than down the hill, so it's nice in the summer. It's in the full shade, but it's a great place for a concert.
Well, it's definitely on my schedule for this year. I just need to get like the actual like schedule because I have all sorts of creative things in my mind that I could do up there. I'll ask your permission first. I just won't show up and bring people with me. What else should we know up there? What else are we doing, and why should people drive up there to come hang out and drink wine?
Well, we're open now, so we're open Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're open late on Fridays. We stay open till 8. May is Oregon Wine Month. So for the month of May, on Sundays, we're doing Mimosa Sundays. So you come and you buy a flight. We had Urban River Spirits came out and paired 3 of their syrups with each one of our bubbles. So we do a Blanc bubble and a Rosé bubble. And they paired 3 with each. And you come out, you buy the flight, and you can kind of make your own little mimosas as sweet as you want or the different flavors you want. And then we have a food truck that comes out. It's usually a brunchy food truck, and then we'll do live music for the month of May. June, we start doing Pinot and pizzas on Friday nights. So we have fire pits out there. We do live music on Fridays then, and then we'll do come order a pizza. We usually do 2 or 3 different kinds of pizzas and run specials for that. And then July is when the concerts start. So usually about every other Saturday. We've got 5 right now. That lineup should be posted probably about a week and a half on the website.
Okay. That's perfect, because that'll be like about the timing where we're releasing this. And so everybody go find the concerts. And where do we find the website?
It's going to be hudakhouse.com.
And it's Hudak.
Hudak.
House.
Yeah, house.com.
.com. I want to make sure that we spell that right. And then remind everybody again where the actual vineyard and winery is.
We're at 5737 Orchard Heights Road, Northwest in Salem, right at the top of the hill, right at pretty much at the 99-20-22 intersection there.
Yeah, it's easy to find. I mean, once you get there, and the vineyard is really pretty well marked. And
yeah, we've got road signs to get you there, off Orchard Heights and Oak Grove, either way.
Okay, did I forget anything?
I don't.
You got cute dogs.
Cute dogs.
Yeah. Yep. The fire pits are great. It's really a nice casual spot to come and hang out. And the big thing for me with like the wine industry is like places that are non-pretentious. And there's different strokes for different folks. And some people love kind of the more higher end pretentious-y kind of places. I myself do not. I like the ones where I can kick off my shoes and throw my feet on the table if it's allowed, and if it's not too tacky.
That's kind of what we fell in love with. I mean, that was our dream. Was when we started doing this, it was going to be a place where you would go and you'd feel like you were at home. And that's kind of the name, is Hudak House. It was my son thought of it, and he's like, we had 4 kids. They all played water polo. So we were the house where all the kids came, all the kids had food, all the kids had, we had all the parties and the Halloween parties and things like that. So the idea was, where are you going to go? We're going to Hudak's house. And that's where the name came from. We're going to Hudak House. So his theory was, if you know us, you know.
Yes.
And if you don't know us, you're going to come and you're going to find out.
I love it. I love all of it. Well, thank you.
Thank
for
you.
bringing wine, for bringing yourself. And unfortunately, your wife and daughter couldn't make it today due to different reasons, work and other things. And so you held down the fort quite nicely.
Thank you.
Yes, you did good. I like it. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening to the podcast. As always, please go out and visit these wonderful people, buy some wine, fall in love with them, join the club, all of that stuff. And, I always have to thank John, my audio genius over there, for making this sound great and cutting out all the things that I wasn't supposed to say. Big shout out to him, McMinnville, the wine industry in Oregon, who has been so embracing to me, and thank you to all of you. So with that, I say goodbye and cheers for now, and we will see you back on the next episode.